This is the Vent Time with Connie podcast, where we discuss topics that can be controversial or uncontroversial. Topics range from family, faith, lifestyle, you name it. No topic is off limits. New episodes released every Tuesday and Friday. All right, sit back and relax. Here is your host of the show, Connie.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Vent Time with Connie podcast. I'm your host, Connie. How are you guys doing? I hope everyone is doing well. Welcome, new listeners. Thank you so much for stopping by, and I hope you listen rest of other episode. I released over 40 episodes, so please stick around more and listen to previous episodes. And old listeners, thank you so much for coming back. Thank you so much for your support, your continuous support. You guys are the real MVP. Okay, today's episode, we're bringing back Think Like a Man series. I know it's been a long time. The last time I released episode on Think Like a Man series was like in March. So we're bringing it back again here in May. And for those that don't know, Think Like a Man series is a series that is a series where I bring in male guests discussing trending topics or topics in general that has to do with what men think, in hope to truly understand why and how men think. Sometimes in this series we might agree or disagree. So today I brought in a special guest. I bring a special guest. He's also a podcaster like I am. His name of his podcast is 10 Items or Less. So you should make sure you check it out. So I have here with me Timm. Hello, Timm. How you doing?
I'm wonderful. Thanks for having me on.
Thank you so much for stopping by at Vent Time with Connie podcast. How you coping with? Because I know you live in Texas, right? In Austin, Texas.
I live in Austin, Texas. I'm sure it's similar around the world or the United States. We're all coping in the way we can. It's very, very difficult. I am a little bit blessed that I am still able to go to work.
Yes.
I work for a grocery store, and it's literally slowed down in the last couple of weeks. I think I'm on week 8 of continuous work. And but like somebody like my wife, she's been home at work for the last 4 to 5 weeks. So I'm sure that's difficult.
Yes, it is difficult. So you're definitely an essential worker, and we thank you so much for your services.
Oh, thank you very much.
Yeah, we really appreciate you guys, because this time around, a lot of people, I would say I'm included, we went to a lot of shopping because we needed it. Things were running out quickly. So we needed you guys to be there.
I think things have calmed down a little bit. The whole toilet paper thing is behind us. Everybody's got their amount. The stores are getting more items. So I think the initial shock was tough, but I think we're all good now.
Yes, we thank God for that. I'm glad everything is coming back to normal, but gradually.
Yes.
Yep. We still have to be careful. Okay, Timm, I want to know, can you tell my listeners, I want to know, who are you? Like, who is Timm?
Let me give you my life story in 30 seconds. My name is Timm. I'm almost 50 years old, so my perspective on your topic today is going to be really good.
Yes.
I've lived all over the United States. I was born on the East Coast. I grew up, for the most part, as an adult in Atlanta, Georgia. I lived there 17 years. I've been remarried. I'm remarried now for the second time. I've come from a family-owned business. My entire life, I worked for my parents. Once I got a little bit older, I had the opportunity to have some of the greatest jobs in the world. I've worked for Major League Baseball, owned my own restaurants and things like that. I've been at the top of the mountain as far as the money, and I've been down in the bottom. So I've experienced it all, and I'm blessed to be here, and I've learned so much along the way.
That's good. I mean, actually, I lived in Atlanta, Georgia for 8 years before I moved down here in Houston. So yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
I used to live in Houston as well. I've lived all over.
Wow. How many states have you lived in the United States?
I think my wife and I were counting them the other day. We have a little this little picture on the wall, and we put a thumbtack in each state we lived. I think we have 11 thumbtacks on. This is my 4th time living in Texas. So my job has always been, prior to the grocery store. Now I've always been in the restaurant and bar industry, the hospitality industry. So my job has always moved me around the country.
Oh, okay. That's good to know. Okay. You do have a podcast called 10 Items or Less. That is such a rare and unique name. Like, what bring up that inspiration to name your podcast that?
I think I wanted to keep it short and sweet. I am not a really, I should say, diehard podcast listener. I am now, once I started this.
Oh,
I
okay.
find it hard to keep my attention any more than 20 or 30 minutes. So I've kind of designed my podcast on a less than serious basis. We cover everyday stuff, sometimes a little serious, sometimes not. But literally 20, 30 minutes, 10 items or less. I think the word 10 items or less comes from the grocery store aisle. You know, you can check out this way. So that's kind of where I did.
Yeah, that makes sense because you work in the grocery store, so that makes sense with the name.
Correct.
I know in your podcast you do give a recipe. Let's say the last one was like barbecue chicken recipe. So I wanted to know, is cooking one of your hidden talents or hobby?
Yeah, so I am actually a chef by trade. I graduated culinary school 30 years ago. I've owned a bunch of restaurants. I've been in the food industry my entire life. So food is a huge passion of mine. It comes from my mother. My mom and dad were both chefs. They owned a family restaurant growing up as a kid. So we've always been in the food business. So I've got a wealth of food knowledge. I don't think I'm the greatest chef, but I know a lot.
That's good. I love cooking, but I'm not a chef.
That's okay.
I can throw in some stuff in the kitchen. Okay, that's good. Well, let's just dive into the topic of today, which is financial insecurity in men. Financial insecurity, when I Google it, I want to know what that means. Is actually when you feel not enough to generate funds that will in turn support those people that rely on you, i.e. your children, your spouse, or your extended families. And this is like a big issue that manifests in all of us. And it could be as a result of our view on money, or our background, how we were raised, what we think how money should go. Like for example, like we're talking about men, some men, they place their value on money, like how much money they make, how they can provide for their family. So that's why I actually bring up these financial insecurities. And I want to know, do you think this is common feeling among people, or do you think it's just a particular gender?
I think it's I think it's common, but I think, as I said to you in the beginning, I'm not 50, but I'm almost 50 years old. I'll be 50 this year, and I think a lot of that comes in stages. Yeah. So let me just give you an example. So when I was young and graduated from culinary school, I wanted to be the greatest chef of all time, make millions of dollars, and every dollar in the world was like my goal and my dream. But in the same time, I worked for my mom and dad's restaurant all as a child, literally as a child, all the way through high school, barely got a paycheck, okay, and then watched my parents, mom and dad, blood, sweat, and tears every day working in our restaurant, literally just the three of us, to really just pay the bills. So the value of the dollar for me as a youngster was, no matter how much money I would ever make, it was instilled by my parents. Yeah. But my dream in my early or late teens to in my 20s, when I got married the first time, was that I'm going to be the best of the best, and I'm going to make millions of dollars, and I'm going to be this world famous person. Well, that changes real quick, and you get humbled. You know, by the time I was 24 years old, Connie, I already lost $1 million. Okay, I took out a loan. I opened a restaurant, $1 million restaurant. We tried, my wife and I. You know, again, it was a loan. It wasn't money that I saved up. And within 2 years, we had $0. I was getting a divorce. Both of my kids, who were babies at the time, were devastated. And you want to talk about a humbling experience, and going from where you think you're the greatest to now you're really not the greatest. As far as financially, it's very humbling. So I think it goes in stages. And now that I'm almost 50 years old, I'll be honest with you, I can care less about money. I want to be happy. I just want to have a good life. I make a joke and I say, I don't care if I'm bagging groceries at a grocery store or if I'm a CEO of a company. The main goal is to be happy. So it changes throughout life.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. And I mean, for you, I think you say it has to do with age too, because as you grow, you realize that money is not everything. Because some people think money is everything.
It's important, but it's not everything.
It's not. Yes, it is. You need money to survive, to pay your bills and all of that. But some people base their personal value on money, like how much money they have in their bank account, which is not always, because that can also change. sometimes you might have low amount, sometimes you might have high. That doesn't make you any less of a human or less of a man or woman. So that brings me to my next question. Why do you think men experience these financial insecurities compared to women?
I think it is a generational thing, but I do think it has a lot to do with your upbringing. And I feel like, and I've seen it and I see it every day, I feel like there's a certain, I don't want to say type but a characteristic of a man that doesn't feel like he's providing for, like you said, his family or his wife, or who, maybe if it's in his parents, if he doesn't make enough money. And that alone will get you really not in a good spot. You get really desperate. You're trying to uphold an image that really isn't what you're about. And it takes a lot of soul searching to dig deep, and who cares? And I've went through some of that in my time and 25, 30 years of working, not with my parents, but it really is very tough for a lot of people to do. And I think it's an ego thing, Connie.
Yes,
and
it
and
is.
it's hard. And I'm not going to guess how old you are, but it's hard for the younger 20s to 30s to get past that ego and understand they have a lot more life ahead of them.
Yes. Yeah, I'm 27 years old. Yes.
I was close. I said between 20s and 30s.
Yes. Yes. Because we think that's it. We don't think about the future. We just think about just now. And if you don't make that money that you think you should be making at some certain age, you feel like you're a failure. That's it for you. For some men, they feel like no woman will look their way or wants to get married to them because they are not quote unquote equipped or husband material. So I think that could cause some insecurities.
Yeah, and I think some of the happiest people in the world are the brokest, right? And some of the most miserable people in the world have lots of money in their bank account, like I said. Yeah. So being from experience, from top to bottom, it doesn't matter how much you have in your bank account. Again, it's important, and I would love for people to strive to save money and do all those things, but live your life, and who cares who makes how much money? It doesn't matter.
Yeah, it doesn't. Because I always wonder, I forgot the name of this guy that killed himself. He's a chef. He's not a chef. Is it Anthony Bourdain or something?
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. Depression.
Yeah, depression. And he have a lot of money because, of course, he traveled from countries to country. If you look at his life just on TV, you think he have a perfect life because money is not his issue. It wasn't his issue. And you wonder, why would he still kill himself? To attain this success, this achievement in life that people are doing everything possible to get to. And you are still going into depression, you're killing yourself. For some people, just couldn't comprehend why he will kill himself.
Yeah, and I think some of the thinking or trying to be the best or trying to have the most money or whatever you're trying to do, that does cause or maybe affect mental health. And that's what happened with that guy. I mean, like you said, to me and you watching, and I wasn't a big fan of his show, but to me and you watching that TV, like, what in the world was wrong with that guy?
I know, yeah.
Yeah, so I get it, and we don't know the deeper story, but but that just goes to show you, if you're trying or belittling people or don't feel man enough because you don't make enough money, that is a perfect scenario of a guy that was on TV, successful, people following him around the world, who killed himself, not because he didn't have enough money, because of something else. So money is not first, and people have to realize that.
That's true. You're absolutely right. Still talking about money. I know I don't know if this also happened in American society, but mostly in African community, some women, when you ask them, they say they don't want to be too successful because they don't want to scare men away. They feel like the amount of success, the amount of money you have will scare some men away because they feel like maybe you will control them or something. So they want to make sure they don't have a lot of money, or even if they have a lot of money, they will not live in an expensive house or drive expensive car. So they won't give off a bad energy to guys. I don't know, just they won't scare the guys away from them. So do you think that fear they have, is that justifiable?
No, I think it's crazy. I think because if you turned it around, right, guys want the fancy car. Look at me, I'm fancy, I look good, I have a big house. And girls or women, they want, like you said, are trying to hide it so they don't feel so overwhelming to a man. Yes. I can share a story with you, and I'm telling you, it's got to be 30 years ago, I had some neighbors in my first marriage, and the woman was a doctor and the husband was just a normal worker, and they had a baby, and he decided to be the stay-at-home mom. And I remember at 19 years old saying to my ex-wife now, but my first wife, saying, I don't know if I could do that. And I was only 19. And the guy's name was Patrick, and I don't know the wife, I can't remember, but it stands out to me because I remember looking in the mirror saying, I don't know if I could put away my culinary dreams and these $1 million dreams I have to not work and watch this kid. And then literally, Connie, within a very short period of time of watching the baby be born and getting to know Patrick, it was the greatest job that guy ever had. Good for him. And I think that was part of, you have to see it sometimes to realize it. And she was a doctor. What do you expect her not to go to work?
That's true. That's true. They work all the time. They work all the time. So
yeah. So I would, I'll tell you right now, at age 50, I'm married. I'm happily married. But if my wife makes more money than me, woohoo, let's have a party.
Yes.
I'm so excited.
Yes.
Hey there. If you haven't heard about Anchor, it's the easiest way to make a podcast. Let me explain. It's free. Duh. That's why I'm using it. There's a creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. Anchor will distribute your podcast for you so it can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and many more. You can make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. It's everything you need to make a podcast in one place. Now, take out your phone, download the Anchor app, or go to your computer and type in this anchor.fm to get started. Let me repeat that. Download the app, Anchor app, or you go to the computer and search for anchor.fm to get started. Let's do this.
Yes, I'm glad you actually said that when your wife makes more than you, you wouldn't feel intimidated. You would even cheer
I would
her
say,
on.
thank you so much. What can I do for you?
Yeah. But in the past, of course, you weren't like this before. It took you a long time to get to this point that you are in right life. So I want to know, did you ever experience financial insecurities in your past relationship before now?
No, I probably have always made more money than either my ex-wife or my wife now. I've always been, but there was times after leaving my first marriage and now marrying my second wife, Connie, where I was plumb broke. And my wife now, who wasn't my wife then, I mean, she's paid some of my bills.
Wow.
And I had to move out, and we were getting divorced, and I had to get an apartment. And I remember her helping me with a security deposit. Was that a terrible feeling at a young man? For sure. But I really realized real quick that it's okay for people to help you.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with that. And evidently we got married, and we've been, married now for almost 10 years. So everything ended up great, but it was a rough feeling. You don't feel manly, right? The stereotype of being a man is I got you, so it was hard to get over that. But I think it comes in stages, and I think you have to learn or really get down or learn from your mistakes to get better. Like I said, you lost all that money from the restaurant loan. I can tell you right now what I would do different, and I would be the best restaurant owner because I blew $1 million.
That's true.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
So you only learn from your mistakes.
Yes, you're absolutely right. Another question that I want to ask is, I know that for some financial insecurities men do have, it sometimes has to do with how they were brought up and everything, their childhood experience, or for you, about what happened to you in the past, how you used to be a restaurant owner, and then you not really failed, but it didn't really work out, that you have to hit rock bottom, and then you learn your lesson, and now you know what to do better now. But for some men, would you agree that their women, their wives or something, could be the one that contribute to their financial insecurities? Do you think there's anything a woman would do that contribute to the man feeling insecure financially?
I do. I think it's in any relationship. I think it can go both ways, but I could see for instance, a man losing their job and somebody having a baby at home, and the wife or girlfriend or whoever it may be saying, you have to do better. You have to provide for your family. Because that's what the rules have always been, that that the men should do that. And, my mom and dad are 70 years old, Connie, And, so they're 20 years older than me. It is a way different time then for them than us. My dad and my mom is old school. My mom makes my dad dinner every night, so those times have changed. And I'm sure that this topic was all about that in the past. Yes. So, I do think that any relationship can be taxing on something happens. I do think that I'm sure there was a point of time, not only in my first marriage, but definitely in my second marriage, where we had to move to a different city. And maybe it wasn't financially the greatest idea, or my boss told me I had to go. And my wife put pressure on me, and I have to man up, and I got to make the right decision. So, we have been lucky enough to be where we are now. But there was a lot of speed bumps in a way. I remember once getting transferred to Detroit, Michigan. Okay, we've never lived in Michigan, and we got sent there in January. It was a snowstorm. My wife never seen snow in her entire life. Wow. And we got there, and the company that transferred me said, you have to live in this hotel for 3 weeks until your house is ready. And they said, we're not paying you. And we're not buying your hotel room. And I didn't have enough money, and I had to man up and say, we're going to make it work. And I remember we literally almost lived out of a car because I had to provide. So you have to do the things you have to do. And it is tough to do. And too many times I see people, man or female, just give up, walk away and say, this isn't worth it. And 2 months later they're with somebody else, and here's the same cycle. So
I know. It would just keep repeating the cycle. Instead of repeating it, you just try to learn from it and fix it if it has to do with one person or not. You don't want to keep on going from one person to another, and you're not learning anything new. You're not changing the pattern. So.
When you find the right thing, you'll know it, and it's good and bad. It goes both ways. But the financial piece is really ruined a ton, if not millions, of relationships. Yes. So it's very hard to get by. And then if you throw that in with a young couple, somebody your age who has a baby, and maybe they're not even married, okay, which happens quite often nowadays. I have 2 daughters. One's 24 years old. Okay. Yeah. She's working day and night, but she's 1 minute away from a financial crisis. So you just don't know, so it's very, very difficult.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. What would be, I want to get your take on this. What do you think about joint account in relationship or in marriage?
Prior to marriage or marriage?
Both in relationship and in marriage. What is are they different for each one?
I do. I think until you're engaged and you're committed to each other, I don't think, and this is just my opinion, I don't think it's a good idea to have joint accounts. I think you should both be self-sufficient. Yes. And I say that for 2 reasons. One is you're self-sufficient, and the other one is you just never know what's going to happen. So I feel like even though a lot of marriages do fail nowadays, but once there's a commitment, or you're engaged, or you have a date together, or you've committed to spend the rest of your life together, I don't think there's any reason to stop from doing that. Yes. I do think you should have some caution. Yes. I do think there's a bunch of bad people out there, male or female, but I do think it builds unity between a couple. I have friends, and I still have friends that are literally not married, but they live together. They do everything together. They're clearly in a sexual relationship, and they have different accounts. To me, I don't get that. So there's really no commitment. But again, that's just me, maybe a little bit old school.
Yes.
The minute we get a little bit serious and we commit to each other, and especially if we live together, we're going to have a joint account.
Yes, because you guys going to have a shared expenses, and you have bills to pay. So that would make sense. And
again, that's just my opinion. I'm sure there's a whole different. I would love to hear that opinion of somebody that's 25 or 30. Because I bet you it could be a little bit different, because I've heard people say, well, that's my money. Well, you're about to embark into a relationship.
Yes. I think that's what people of my age, we don't completely understand. I don't know why why it changed now, but I think it's hard for people to, when they get married, to become one, to try and do things together. I think because of all the divorce you hear, all the bad things you hear, that scares people. It scares people a lot. So everybody's going into marriage it's like you're going into a battlefield. So you have to protect yourself. I think that's what it is.
Yeah, and I think it's scary to make that leap of faith to get married to somebody nowadays. My parents, as I told you, are both 70 years old. They've been married over 52 years. Yeah, they're married 52 years. My parents were both married. I didn't come from a divorced household. I didn't know what divorce was. I married my high school sweetheart, so it could happen to
Yeah.
anybody. Yeah,
Yes.
it isn't like, oh, my parents were divorced, so I get divorced.
Yes.
They're still married.
Yes. It's not a generation cause. I think it just has to do with different generation. Your parents were married 52 years ago. That's a long time ago. So things were different back then compared to your generation, compared to my generation, compared to even other younger generation. And I think things are even, I don't know, it seems like things are getting worse and worse, and I don't know. That's what
Yeah.
it seems like. I don't know. I don't know how marriage will be in 30 years time. It's just
Maybe one day there will be none. I have no idea.
That's true, because that's what it's looking like, and it's scary what's happening these days. Is that people are getting married with intention they will divorce one day. I don't know.
Yeah.
They already have a plan ahead of time if that
Yeah.
were to happen. I was like, you can't just go into marriage like that. It doesn't work that way. But hey, that's what's happening right now. So to each on his own. So
My advice for anybody, I don't care how old, where you come from, is you got to do what you got to do, and don't be too proud to step aside. If someone makes more money, be happier with that person. It's a win.
It is because when you guys get married and you guys become one, if one person makes more money, that means both of you makes more money. If you think
Sure.
about it in that sense, it will no longer be, oh, she makes more money or he makes more money. It's whoever makes more money is win-win for both of you.
I
That's what
tell
it's
people all
supposed
the
to be.
time. I said, if you guys are getting married and you make 70,000 and she makes 50,000, you now make 120. That's how it
Yes,
works.
that's how it works. Even in filing tax, that's how it
It
works.
doesn't matter. That's how it works. Yes.
Yes. Yeah. Before we end this topic, I want to give you the last word to advise young people, young men that are probably they're working their behind off. I don't want to use the other word, but working
Yeah.
their behind off to make more money, but their inspiration is so that their future wife will not make more than them. So they're working hard every day to make more money. What would be your advice for that kind of man with that kind of mindset?
They're trying too hard. They're worried about the wrong thing.
Yes.
Okay. And it may work in the beginning, and they will definitely make themselves feel really, really good. And you're at the top of the world. I've been there. Okay. But it will never sustain. And the true love of your life, or whoever that girl or guy may be, okay, once you meet that person loves you, and you're going to love them. Nothing to do with how much money is in your bank account.
Yes.
My wife right now, Connie, she married me with a failed marriage, 2 young kids, and a ton of child support. Okay.
Wow.
And she stuck it through, and we've been married 10 years, and I was flat broke. And,
Wow.
and that's what people, once you find that person, it doesn't matter. And so the person that's striving to be the best of the relationship, it will never sustain long term.
Yes. You're probably you're gonna be attracted to the wrong people.
100%. And like we said earlier, it just keeps going and it keeps going and keeps going.
Yes. Okay. Oh, yeah, that's good. I think we have come to the end of this discussion, but let's just relax and play a game. So
Yes.
today we're going to be playing rapid fire question, and I'll
Okay.
ask you a bunch of questions and you try to answer it as fast as you can.
Okay.
All right. Okay. The first question is, what is the best thing that happened to you this month?
My mom was on my podcast last week.
Yes, and I actually did listen to that one. It was
That
really
was a
fun.
lot of fun.
Yes. Okay, what is your favorite board game?
Scrabble. Only because I don't know how to spell and I make up my own words.
That makes sense. Okay, when are you most inspired?
When am I?
Most inspired.
In the morning. I'm a morning person. I mean, I get up at 5, 6 in the morning every day, ready to go. I'm never tired in the morning.
Wow. Yeah, me too. I like morning time. If
Yeah.
any job, all jobs that I work is always morning. I can't do
Yeah.
night. Oh Lord. I don't know how people survive working at night.
I did nights for a very long time in the bar restaurant business, but for some reason, as I've gotten older, I'm up every day at the same time and I am ready to go.
Okay. Okay. What is your favorite beverages?
My favorite what?
Beverages like soft drinks. What's your favorite soft drinks?
Diet Coke.
Oh wow. Okay. What is the best compliment you ever received?
Whew. Well, The first thing that came to my head is that somebody told me that they liked my mom better than me from my podcast. So that is a compliment. I took that as a win.
Yes, because she was really fun too to
Yeah.
listen. I can see why they say that.
Yeah.
Okay, what is your favorite birthday cake?
Carvel frozen ice cream cake. It's hard to find. You can find it
Wow.
on the East Coast. Yeah, it's an ice cream cake. Very good.
I never heard of that before, but I
Yeah,
would
it's hard to
definitely
find.
try it. Is it in Texas? Is it in Texas?
Occasionally you could find it in a Publix. I don't know if there's a Publix in Houston, but
Yeah, I
they're
don't think
randomly.
they're not.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
since I
probably
moved
not.
there. Yeah, since I moved down here, I always ask my husband, "Do you guys have Publix?" He said, "What is Publix?" I was like, "Yeah, you
Oh,
guys don't
geez.
have it. They definitely don't have it, because that's why I order
Yeah.
my cakes and all that stuff, but they don't
Yeah.
have it." Yeah. Okay, another one is, what is one thing that you still have from your childhood?
My blanket.
Oh, wow.
I sleep with a blanket every night. I'm ashamed to say that.
Hold on, the one from when you were a child?
At some point, yeah. I don't know if it was when I was born with. That was a long time ago, but yes. My wife threatens to throw it away every day, and I won't let her.
Oh, wow. I don't think I have anything from my childhood.
Yeah.
I doubt it. Okay, what is your favorite movie?
Tin Cup. I love golf, so great
Wow.
golf movie.
Oh, wow. I've never seen that one.
It's a little bit older.
Oh, okay. What is something you can't do?
That I can't do?
Yes, you can't. Yeah.
Dance. Terrible. Connie, I think I can, but my wife says stop. Yeah, it's really bad.
I think
This
most
white guy has no rhythm.
You're funny. I think most guys probably don't have rhythm.
I don't.
My husband, I'm still teaching him, and he's learning little by little.
I wish I knew, but I just can't do it. My legs don't bend enough, I guess.
Okay, so window seat or aisle seat?
Window all day long.
Me too, so I can see the cloud.
My wife gets stuck in the middle, but I'm sorry.
I hate the middle. That's the worst thing ever.
Yeah.
Especially if you have a long flight.
Uh-huh.
Imagine being in the middle seat for a long flight.
Oh, no way. No chance.
No. Okay, what makes you laugh no matter what?
I love comedy. Anything funny. I love to laugh. I find myself funny. I love comedy. So
Who's your favorite comedian?
very old. Richard Pryor. He's dead.
Oh, wow.
He's an icon. Yeah. He's love it.
I haven't heard of him. Do you have
Very
any?
old. He really old.
Oh, okay. Do you have anyone as of current, like someone that's still alive?
I like Kevin Hart because
Me
I'm from
too.
Philadelphia area, so I find myself I'm on his Instagram. I find it very funny.
Yeah, me too. I find him really funny too.
Yeah,
Okay, what does creativity mean to you?
just open mind, and just let it go. Don't overthink anything.
Yes. Yeah. Wow, that's new.
And I think a lot of people overthink a lot of things.
Yes, yes, yes. I don't think that's how I would define it, because I'm an overthinker. So
There you go.
I always see creative people as those that just sit and just think and think of something really extraordinary. That's the way I see it for those that are creative. But that's a good way to define it. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, what is your favorite lyrics of all time?
Whew. Favorite lyric. That's a tough one.
Yeah. Okay, how about a
You
favorite song, if you can remember?
Yeah,
a
you
song?
stumped me.
Yeah.
You got me. I don't know. Sweet Caroline. Ba, ba, ba. That's probably it. That's my karaoke song.
Wow. How old was this one? Where was?
Oh, that's old too. Yeah, way older than you. Yeah. You're making me feel old, Connie.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. No, that's not my intention. It's just Sweet Caroline. I think I've heard of that song.
You've heard it. Everybody's heard it.
Yeah, I've heard about it. Yeah. Okay, what is your favorite holiday?
I love Thanksgiving because I love family. I come from, like I said, a strong family. My mom and dad are still together. I worked with them most of my life. Thanksgiving, by far, just getting as many people together, and even people that aren't family.
Yes.
We can get as many people over as possible. I love it. It's just my special day.
Yeah, I love Christmas. I think before I came to America, Christmas is like Thanksgiving for us,
Gotcha.
Now having Thanksgiving and Christmas, both of them are awesome, but I like Christmas because that's what I'm used to more than Thanksgiving. I'm still trying to
Okay.
figure out how to celebrate Thanksgiving because most
Just
of my
all you do
family,
is
they don't.
eat a
Yeah,
lot.
that's what I eat. I just make sure I make turkey, but that's it. I don't think we celebrate it much though. But yeah.
Correct.
Well, it was nice having you. Before I let you go, do you have anything that you want to promote, like any upcoming event?
No, just my podcast, 10 Items or Less podcast. I'm very new at this. I think you said you're on your 40th episode. I'm going to put up my 5th episode tonight. So I'm almost finished with it. So I'm quite a bit behind you, but I'm learning. I'm having a lot of fun doing it. So I appreciate you taking the time to talk with me. I've learned a lot.
No problem.
That's it. Just make sure everybody checks me out. And I love feedback. So 10 Items or Less podcast at gmail.com. That's it.
Awesome. Okay, guys, make sure you check out his podcast, 10 Item or Less, so you can listen to it. It's actually funny, and it's not too long. It's not too short.
I try to keep it short and sweet. Yeah, I don't want it overbearing.
It's precise. I like that. But yeah, thank you so much, Timm, for coming. I really did have fun with talking to you, and I did learn a lot. I did learn a lot about this. You have a different perspective, and that's why I like bringing in guests, so I can hear a different perspective. But thank you so much for coming.
No, thank you. And you're a friend for life now, Connie. Thank you so much. And we'll be in touch.
Yes, we'll definitely be in touch. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
All right.
Thanks for listening to the Vent Time with Connie podcast. Remember to subscribe on Apple Podcasts, iTunes, Spotify, or whatever platform you listen to podcasts. Please don't forget to like, rate, review, or share this podcast. Do you have any feedback or questions for Connie or any topics you'd like to discuss on the show? Connie loves communicating with our listeners. You can find her on Instagram and Facebook at Vent Time with Connie or send an email to venttimewithconnie@yahoo.com. Until next time, remain blessed.